Hey there, sports fans. How are we doing? Welcome to the 10 Yards Back YouTube channel for this, what is my predictions, preview, musings on Game 2 of the 2025 semi-finals of the Betfred Super League. We made it. We're here. The Robbins versus the Saints. Now, this is, again, a little reminder of how the table looked at the end of the season and who we've lost along the way from the top six. Leeds bowing out to Saints in that most epic of finishes, the left to right try. And I mean, for a minute there, after the game, it looked like everyone was pissed off about the Benison thing. But I love that people now have sort of come around to say, well, I mean, look, if we were going to lose, at least we lost like that. Because it was a moment, wasn't it? It was a moment in history that wowed us all. Just a reminder. So at this point, the point of this show, at the point of me delivering this to you, we've probably, maybe, potentially already lost either Wigan or Lee as well. So we'll know whether it's the bus stop or the brick that are going to the final. This is Hull KR versus Saints, the big dogs versus the underdogs. Let's have a look at the teams. So, Saints Hull KR, this game kicks off at 5:30 on a Saturday, which is actually a really nice time for this game to happen because it gives Saints fans a chance to get over there. However, they've only been given 1,000 tickets, which sounds like a lot, but the secondary market for these tickets now is massive. Like, online, people need tickets to this game because, let's be honest, no one in a red V thought they were going to get this far. Even when the hooter blew last week, everyone probably was booking to go to Mallorca or whatever. So Saints making it this far is great. Getting 1,000 tickets, they're not too pleased about that, but at least they got the tickets. So OKR versus Saints. Let's have a look at the team sheets. They've been released. Now, obviously, Saints had a game last week. Not much has changed in terms of the Saints team other than Kyle Felt has been removed from that 21-man squad. So we know for sure this time that Felt is not going to make it to the field. KR did not field a team last week. They were relaxing. They were in the spa. So let's have a look how I think each of these teams either will or should or maybe would shape up. And let's start with Hull KR, the Robbins, the big dogs, the Rovers. Yeah, the only team I think with two mascots. I know the Catalans also have the two dragons, don't they? The red and the gold dragon. But yeah, like it's like, come on, make your mind up. Are you the Robins? Are you the Rovers? We don't know. So let's have a look. They've basically got the choice of starting 13, haven't they? Because obviously we lost Evolds earlier in the season to Huddersfield, and they made the signing of the season in Artur Morg, who has just bossed it, hasn't he? So we got Morgan there. Other than that, it's basically 1 to 13 starting. Look, these guys have done it so well this year. A change I've made, and it'll be interesting to see what happens here, because I don't often, like before this week, I've never really bothered with like actually looking at who I would put in the 17. It's quite hard, isn't it, to sort of have a think who you would put in, because there's Oliver Gildart there, and Oliver Gildart's missing out in my 17, my dream 17. Gildart's missing out simply because Jack Broadbent is there. The thing is with Broadbent is he's really, really flexible. His utility is massive. So if Morg or Davis, Burgess, Hiku, Lewis even go down, Broadbent can slot in there very easily. These are key positions, and you can put somebody else in at centre, maybe make like a lateral movement, move the second rows out to centre or whatever. Gildart can't really do that in the same way. And in a game like this, Broadbent with his stamina, his small man stamina, you don't really need him on the bench. So I'd keep him on the field and lose Gildart, unfortunately. And I really like Gildart. I think he's done some really good stuff in his career. But for this one, I've got Gildart missing out, Broadbent in there at centre. Now, I've got McLaurin as 18th man. Rumours are that if he's fit, he'll start the game. And I can see arguments for both things there. My idea of putting McLaurin at 18 man is, if you need to use your 18th man, if you're eligible to use it, you might need a little bit of generalship. You might need someone to step in and control the game a little bit, bolster the troops. We've lost two fellas, or one fella's down, it was foul play or whatever it was. So that's why McLaurin's at 18th man. I also understand him starting to an extent, but if you start McLaurin, unless you're starting him at 13, which won't happen because of Minchella, or Minchell, as it says here on my animations, you've got to bench Litton. And Litton's playing way too good to be benched and to consume a space on the bench, because Litton is an 80-minute hooker. So I don't see why you would have someone in reserve for him, unless, of course, you're playing the injury game. But anyway, that's how I think it'll turn out. I mean, in terms of who they have access to here, they've got all the top try scorers, and God, they've got some try scorers. I mean, look at these. They might even be 4 of the top 10 try scorers in there, as Lewis, Davis, Burgess, Broadbentus. all in an S, didn't they? Morg is number 2 in the top point scorers. So they've really, really scored some points. Noah Booth is down there with 7, as an example. I think he's played 4 games maybe for him, and he's got 7 tries. So that's indicative of where Hull KR are at the minute. But let's bring on the tadpoles, the underdogs, the little pups, the Saints. Let's bring on the Saints. So I don't think they'll change much from last week. I'm one of these Saints fans who actually likes the team. There's not many of us. Most people just use it as something to moan about. So there's not a lot to change it, other than Felt is out and Wingfield is in, which seems like an odd swap, and it means that Benison is being called up yet again. Benison's had 2 really good weeks at Saints and a good season basically at Widnes. So I'm not mad at Benison. I think that generally he's not a point scoring winger. And I went on last week, he's not a winger. That interaction he had with Jake Connor, if Kyle Felt had been stood in his place, Kyle Felt would have scored that try, because he'd have leaned into it, buffed Connor off, got his arm out, scored the try. Whatever. So he's not that kind of winger. But I think he might be a person on the wing that we need in this game. Ignore the fact that he's playing against Burgess. Ignore that. There's plenty of people around him that can tackle Burgess. I say, God, I'm going to clip that, aren't I, later on, and just try after try. I'm going to regret saying that. The reason I think he's in a good position there is because he's a good collector of the ball. Again, boom, just compilation of Benison dropping the ball. The bench, we've got Delaney, He's a prop. It's what we need. He's the only pure prop on the bench. But then we've gotten by Wingfield and Bell, who are really good utility players. I've put Jake Burns in at 18th man again. I know Noah Booth was the 18th man. Noah Stevens, sorry, was 18th man last week. But last time we Saints played Hull KR, they lost Morgan Knowles really early on to foul play, which meant that we got the 18th man. Losing Morgan Knowles is so much bigger than losing a loose forward. It's losing direction, it's losing strategy, it's losing tactics. It's basically writing off your game plan. If we lose Morgan Knowles or Darryl Clark again, like we almost did last week with Clark, we need someone there who can stick up for himself and play the ball. Now, Wingfield might be that guy, but we also might need Wingfield to be in a prop because we've got the likes of Tanganoa, Sue, Warrea Hargreaves. You've got big fellas over there at KR. So that's what this is the team I've got, and that's my justification. If we look at the try scorers, we are missing a few try scorers there for Saints. And Saints are a team where tries are sort of hard to come by at the minute. So for them to be missing Lewis Murphy, Owen Dagnall, Kyle Felt, it's a toughie. It is a toughie for Saints in this. On that note, let's have a comparison of the two teams' try scoring prowess. If I were to be critical of this, I would say this is just the fielded teams. Obviously, we've got Kyle Felt in there as well and Dagnall and all those guys, but they're not on the field, so it doesn't matter. Saints is quite top heavy, so we've got Tristan Saylor with loads, Hy Robertson with loads, and then it's sort of piecemeal throughout. The whole KR team that they're going to field are try scorers. You know, we've got 5 there on double figures. The rest are in the high single digits. Whole KR can score tries. They can score tries all over the field, and they can assist tries as well. You know, Mikey Lewis is number 2 in the assist charts behind Lachlan Lamb on 30, I think, 30 assists. So this is a team, and this is what I've said all year, it's a team that can play with each other. They when they're on, they are on, and they can really get the ball around and score some bloody tries, can't they? Look at that. So that's how they stack up in point scoring prowess. Now, the actual form coming into this game is fairly even. Now, Saints lost 3 in a row there against Hull KR, Wigan, and Leigh. It was going to happen. You could see it happening. They battered Huddersfield, taught Hull FC a lesson, and then they lost 3 in a row to the top because they can't really score points. Hull KR, sorry, the blue on the Hull KR side is the losses. Have lost to Leeds and Hull FC. I don't remember that. But they beat Saints, Wakefield, Warrington. Oh no, they lost to Wakefield. Sorry, that's incorrect. That's an incorrect graphic, guys. So my point here is that the form of Hull KR is okay coming into this, but it's not the best they've been. They are tending downwards towards the end of the season, particularly if you look at that Warrington game. Warrington were winning that for about half an hour, I think. So for about half an hour, it looked like they were going to lose the League Leaders' Shield to Warrington, and Wigan were going to get it. So that's not the best. Now, they've had a week off. Saints slogged their guts out last week against Leeds. Hull KR a week off, so bear that in mind. In terms of form across the season, these are just the average numbers across the season. There's not an awful lot in it. I think you can focus on things like tackle busts. Oh, Saints are averaging 4 more tackle busts a game, almost 5 more tackle busts a game. Things like that. But bear in mind that Saints have had a couple of really runaway games against poor opponents. Hull KR have been doing this to everyone. That includes Wigan, Leeds, Saints. The upper end of the table, Hull KR have been doing this too. Saints have been really hammering the bottom of the team. So these statistics are a bit skewed. So instead of just looking at the averages, let's look at how they've played against each other in the 3 matches that they have had against each other. So the numbers here are looking a little bit different, aren't they? The real interesting number here, or numbers here, are the marker tackles and the tackle busts on the actual numbers. The reason they're interesting to me is because normally you think, oh wow, that means you must be on the front foot. Tackle bust, yeah, you're breaking through tackles. Marker tackles, you're really trapping them down. But Hull KR have had a real habit of pinning Saints this year. So the marker tackles has been probably just because they've done so much more tackling during their games. The tackle busts is because they've been pinned down. They've had no other option but to run it straight. They haven't been able to pass it out that much because there's been 5 Hull KR players around them all the time. So they've had a bigger opportunity to optimize those stats. It doesn't mean that they're on the front foot. And in fact, if you look at the graph there, it's all the things you want more of. Hull KR have got more of. Points for example, clean breaks. All the things you want less of, Saints have got more of. Points against, tackles. That really spells out. Again, this is the percentage against each other over the year. It all averages out to say that Hull KR have really dominated this. And if you look at the points difference, Hull KR have won all 3 games so far coming into this one this year. Points difference, round 4 at Totally Wicked, 10 points. Okay, not the worst. Round 13 at Craven Park, this is when Hull were really firing. Hull KR were really firing. 30 points difference. I think it was 34-4 that. So Saints scored 1 try, and it was a consolation try. Hull KR with 34. And then recently, the points difference was 4 points. And that's where it gets interesting, isn't it? Because, if we just go into discussing the game now, as we do, that points difference of 4 at the end of the season, the big dogs versus the underdogs, is telling because it was a real slog of a game. Saints lost Morgan Knowles, the general, at the start of the game to foul play. Yes, there was a yellow card. But that 4 points came from penalties. In fact, I think that 6 of Hull KR's 12 points during that game were from penalties. 1 try, perhaps. Maybe I'm misremembering that. But it wasn't a walkover. And it wasn't a comprehensive performance from Hull KR. My advice to Saints here, because I know they're listening, is for the last 3 times they've played each other, right? Imagine this is a rugby field. The last 3 games that these teams have played, most of the game has been played here. Right here in this spot. Short of tries and penalties or whatever, most of the game is in that red spot. So my advice to Saints here, and that's across the 3 games, they've been pinned in that bottom right corner for the whole game. My advice to Saints here is be brave and kick the ball. Just kick it. Kick it far. Kick it wide. Don't worry about who's going to pick it up. Just kick it and chase it. The team you're putting out there has only got 3 props in it. The rest of the team are very agile, very fit, very strong people. Kick the thing downfield and chase it and give yourself a chance. And this is why I suggested that Benison might actually be the winger that we need in that position in this game. Because last week, Leeds tried to do something similar to Saints, and it didn't quite come off because, like I said, we had basically 3 fullbacks in that corner. Benison, Lomax, and Robertson. Obviously, we've got probably, realistically, Sailor at fullback this time as well. So we've got people that can mop up the ball, people who can return the ball, but more importantly, we've got Benison, Robertson, and Lomax who can kind of put a kick on as well. Now, Benison's more of a goal kicker than a kicker, than a territorial kicker. But if Saints master that in this game, if Saints can win the territory battle in this game, they can win this game. I don't think they will, but I don't think it'll be a runaway. I've got 18-16 because all Saints have needed to do against Hull KR. With that, all right, that 30.1 was, all right, yeah, fine, comprehensive. All Saints have needed to do this season is just clear their own half and give themselves a chance, and that's what they need to do here. Whether they've got the team to do it, I don't know. I thought that the most exciting thing that Wellens could have done with this 21-man team is to put Whitby in there, just even if he was no intention of playing him. Just put him in and get Hull KR thinking, shit, they've got a kicker. Because the pressure that KR can apply, the pinpoint accuracy of those kicks to corner is really impressive, very impressive. But when I went to see him around 24, I felt like I could touch the players for most of the game. They were just right in front of me the whole time. Very little of the field was explored. So 18-16 is my prediction. If Saints can just bloody kick the ball down the field, they'll give themselves a chance, and I think it's a good one. Hull KR have been slipping, but they've also been so good all year that they can afford a bit of a slip against this points-poor Saints team. All right, thanks, guys. Let me know what you think. Leave your comments, leave your big thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, do whatever you want to do. But please do enjoy this game.